Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Heraldic Beast deck. Now this deck is really just based on XYZ summoning, bringing out their staple XYZ and a bunch of other XYZs, and they also have effects that activate from the graveyard, and they have magic support that lets them resummon very easily to continually use XYZs and abuse them. So first off, we're going to have 3 Aberconway. So really good attack. On top of that, he can use another Conway in the graveyard and recycle, which is really nice to get cards back to keep doing what you need to do. Heraldic Beast Leo, very important card for this deck. He has 2000 attack, very strong. When he gets normal summoned, he'll get destroyed, but when he gets destroyed, you can search out. So a very powerful card that you have this beater, and you can bypass his negative by special summoning him. So there's a lot of other alternatives you can do, which is really nice. And then we have Basilisk. Basilisk just really annoying for your opponent because he destroys other monsters, which is really nice. Then we have Kagetokage in an XYZ Swarm deck. This is a very, very good card. Lets us do plays very quickly. And then we have Twin-Headed Eagle. So Twin-Headed Eagle is very interesting because you can use them to kind of recycle to use XYZ materials, which is very effective with some of the XYZs that we're using in this deck. And then we have 2 Photon Trasher, again in an XYZ deck. This can be a great card to swarm. Goblindbergh, very, very good, helping a special summon, can bypass Leo's effect, like I was talking about earlier, which is very cool. Other monsters you can use, like Summoner Monk, are good too, so that's another alternative. I'm not using Summoner Monk because I want to keep my spell cards, but it can still be really effective to do some of the plays with this deck. For the spells, we have 3 MST, 3 Advanced Heraldry Art, just really ridiculous that you can just immediately summon an XYZ monster using your Herald monsters. And then Heraldry Reborn, basically Monster Reborn for Heraldic Beasts. Again, very, very strong. Just the fact that this deck can keep recycling and keep bringing out those XYZs. Forbidden Lance, very important for this deck to protect those XYZs so we can keep them out as long as possible. And then we have Foolish Burial, obviously helping us. We have a lot of graveyard stuff. Dark Hole, reinforcement of the army, getting Photon Trasher and Goblindbergh. Otherwise, Stable Traps, not too much to say there. For the extra deck, we're going to have basically the key, I don't know if the key card, but like the boss that we're using, number 8. So this card's pretty ridiculous, allowing you to, it's kind of like that Neospatian card. It becomes the effect of another XYZ monster, but that XYZ monster gets negated and goes to 0 attack. So it's like Starliege mixed with that Neospatian card. It's like that cat or whatever, and it's extremely powerful. On top of the fact that it has 2400 attack to begin with, so already strong. But it's a great anti-XYZ card, and we're running 2 of it. You can run 3 if you want, but because we have mix of other cards, you don't want to fully just use this guy. We also have King of the Feral Imps searching out Kagetokage for us. Lightning Chidori, we have a decent amount of wind monsters, like 5, so Chidori is just a really ridiculous card. You also have to consider the fact that we can recycle really easily, and we can XYZ basically like almost from the graveyard, so Chidori is always a great card to have in this type of deck. Then other staples, Silent Honor, Exciton, Photon, Diamond Dar Wolf, obviously in this deck very useful because we have a good amount of the cards that work with this. Gagaga, Lavalval Chain, again we're doing graveyard stuff, so this is very helpful. Blackship, Maestroke, and Vylon Disigmia in case we do get out 3 4-stars. I really like Vylon. So now for the side deck. Again, side decks in my videos are kind of just recommended cards that also work with the main deck. This isn't meant to be a side deck for matches. These are cards that I want you to consider when you're building your deck. Maybe you'll be thinking about adding them in to do some other interesting stuff. So Dust Knight can be useful to send things to the graveyard. Redox in a deck that uses some earth can be very useful. Heraldic Beast Unicorn is interesting. This is more based on the fact that you want to resummon Psychic XYZs. Not the huge important part of this deck. Obviously, you can bring back number 8, which is really good, but just not a big fan of this card. Chain Dog, because you have a good amount of beasts, you can do some interesting stuff with this card. Heraldic Beast Falcon. This is more for doing like swarming level 5s and making them level 4. So it's interesting, but not really the goal in this deck. But if you run this, you can also be more focused on Chidori. Flame Tiger can be useful in this deck to help you special summon this, bring up beasts, do the same thing. Heraldic Crest, another Heraldic XYZ, requires 3 level 4s though, definitely can be interesting. Fairy King, you could run this with like your 4-star Earth monster is definitely a choice. There's a lot of other XYZs you can run. Those are just a couple examples. The Big Cattle Drive, a lot of your cards benefit from this, but because it's more of a hybrid deck with the other XYZ support, I'm not running this. Barrel from a Different Dimension, because we have some banishing, so this can be good to recycle what we need. Pot of Dichotomy, Pot of Duality, giving us some draw power. Problem with Pot of Duality is we do a lot of special summoning in this deck. Pot of Dichotomy can definitely be useful because we have a good amount of different types of monsters in this deck. So if you want draw power, I would definitely say to run this. Obviously that battle phase restriction is very, very annoying, so it's up to you. Call the Haunted can be really useful, obviously, in this type of deck. And Heraldic Chain is an interesting one. There's other support that's coming for Heraldic Beasts, and there's some other spells and traps. Not going to talk about that yet until it comes out. And finally, like cards that discard for effects are really good in this deck. Phoenix Wing, Divine Wrath, other stuff like that, because dumping in the graveyard is great for this type of deck. So it's basically just really good and helps you get going. So that's my Heraldic Beast deck. Definitely very fun to play, very cool to get out that XYZ and really mess with your opponent's XYZs. And the fact that you can just constantly resummon with this deck is really useful and just allows you to have a lot of resources very quickly. But if you guys have your own Heraldic Beast decks, you can post below, let me know in the comments, talk about what cards you use, and you can make suggestions for me. Maybe there's some cards I didn't think about. Again, there's going to be more support coming for this deck, so I'll probably take a look at it sometime in the future. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.